Realm of the Earth. Introduction. Earth is a unique planet. It is a home not only to man, but also to a vast variety of plants and animals. This is the only planet with life. Do you know why life is possible on Earth only and not on any other planet? Land, water, air, and other favorable conditions make the life possible on Earth. Can we live in air or in water? No, we need land for that. Can we survive without water or air? No, we can't. Thus, these three things are essential for life. Without any of these, the Earth would have been a lifeless planet. These three things, that is land, water and air, are important realms of the Earth. The domain of the Earth consisting of a solid crust or land is called the lithosphere. The domain of water on the Earth's surface is called the hydrosphere. The domain of air surrounding the Earth forms the atmosphere. The lithosphere, the hydrosphere and the atmosphere are called the three realms of the Earth. These three realms meet in a narrow zone extending from slightly below the surface of the Earth to slightly above the surface of the Earth. This contact zone between these three realms is called the Biosphere. The Biosphere is the sphere of life where we live. This is the zone in which various forms of life on or around the Earth are found. It is also called the fourth realm of the Earth. Life in the Biosphere is possible because all the three life-sustaining elements, that is land, water and air, are found in this narrow zone. In this chapter you will study about the realms of Earth, that is lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere. Lithosphere. Lithosphere is land area on Earth. The outer crust of the Earth, which is solid, is called lithosphere. It includes all large and small land masses of the Earth, like mountain, plains and plateaus, etc. Only 1/3 part of the surface of the Earth is covered by land, and the major part, that is 2/3 part, is water. Let's observe these on surface of Earth. Observe the large landmass on the Earth's surface. These are called the continents, and the blue-colored surface is the large water bodies, which are called oceans. Now carefully observe the distribution of the oceans and the continents. You can see that all the oceans of the world are interconnected. Due to this, the level of water in all the oceans remains the same. This level of water is called the sea level. And height of land is measured above this level. The average height of the continents is about 700 meters, and the average depth of the ocean is about 4,000 meters. The highest peak of the world, Mount Everest, is 8,848 meters above sea level, and the deepest point in the oceans, that is Mariana Trench, is about 11,022 meters below the sea level. However, such high areas on the continents and deep parts of the ocean are very few. There are 7 continents in the world. Number 1, Asia. Number 2, Europe. Number 3, Africa. Number 4, North America. Number 5, South America. Number 6, Australia. Number 7, Antarctica. You might have observed that a larger part of the landmass is located in the northern hemisphere. Click on the continent to know more. Asia, the largest continent of the world, is the land of wonders, spiritual temples, highest mountains, and great plains. It boasts of the Great Wall of China, the Taj Mahal, temples of Angkor, and the Mount Everest, the highest peak of the world. Asia lies entirely in the northern hemisphere. It lies between 10 degrees south to 80 degrees north latitude and 25 degrees east and 170 degrees east longitude. It is surrounded by the Pacific Ocean in the east, the Arctic Ocean in the north, and the Indian Ocean in the south. It consists of 48 different countries which include India, China, Japan, North and South Korea, part of Russia, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, etc. These countries are lands of different religions, languages, and cultures. The world's oldest civilization, that is the Indus Valley Civilization, flourished in the plains of Asia. It hosts 60% of the world's current human population. The two most populous countries of the world, that is China and India, are also in Asia. It is home to 10 highest mountain peaks of the world. The plateau of Tibet, known as the roof of the world, is the highest and the largest plateau in the world. The world's deepest freshwater lake, that is Lake Baikal, is also a part of Asia. The giant continent is very rich in natural resources such as petroleum, fish, water, and metals. The Ural Mountains, the Caspian Sea, and the Black Sea separate it from Europe. Australia. Australia is the continent composed of numerous islands and coral atolls. Kangaroo, which is the national animal of Australia, is a symbol of the continent. It is the smallest continent and lies entirely in the southern hemisphere. It lies between latitude 10 degrees south to 44 degrees south and longitude 112 degrees east to 154 degrees east. Australia is the only country in the world that covers the entire continent. Hence, it is also known as the island continent. Sheep are raised in larger numbers in Australia than in any other country of the world. They are raised for both wool and meat. The Great Barrier Reef, which stretches 2,000 kilometers from the northeast of Australia, is the largest coral formation in the world. Europe. Europe, the old world and the cradle of Western thoughts, the birthplace of democracy and the Renaissance. The Eiffel Tower of France, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Colosseum in Rome, Italy, Acropolis of Athens, Greece are some of the iconic symbols of Europe. Europe lies to the west of Asia. Europe and Asia are a continuous single landmass. This landmass is also known as Eurasia. Like Asia, it also lies entirely in northern hemisphere. It lies between 35 degrees north to 73 degrees north latitudes and 25 degrees west to 65 degrees east longitudes. It is broadened on the north by the Arctic Ocean, on the south by the Mediterranean Sea, and on the west by the Atlantic Ocean, and on the south by the Black Sea. Although it is a small continent, but it has many different nations which range in size. Russia is the largest by both area and population, while the Vatican City is the smallest. Europe is the world's second smallest continent. It has approximately 50 states. It is the third most populous continent after Asia and Africa. It is the only continent which is both populous and prosperous. Europe has a wide variety of mineral resources. Coal is found in great quantity in several parts in Britain, Ukraine, and the Ruhr district of Germany. Copper, lead, tin, bauxite, manganese are other important minerals of Europe. Africa. Africa, the dark continent, is the birthplace of humanity and civilization. Africa, the home to some of the most remarkable natural wonders in the world, like the Great Rift Valley, Lake Victoria, the Niger River, Victoria Falls, the Atlas Mountains, the Kalahari and the Sahara deserts, as well as the beautiful Serengeti Plains. The pyramids of Egypt are the icons of Africa. Africa is the world's second largest and second most populous continent of the world and occupies about 20% land of the world. It lies between 35 degrees south to 37 degrees north latitude and 17 degrees west to 52 degrees east longitude. The equator passes halfway through the continent, so it extends into both the hemispheres, that is, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. It is surrounded by the Mediterranean Sea to the north, the Indian Ocean to the southeast, the Atlantic Ocean to the southwest, and the Suez Canal in the northeast. The African continent is separated from Europe by the Mediterranean Sea and from Asia by the Red Sea. Africa's largest country is Sudan, whereas Seychelles is the smallest. The smallest nation on the continental mainland is the Gambia. About 1/3 of Africa is a desert. In the north, there is Sahara Desert, which is the largest desert of the world. Diamond, gold, petroleum, uranium, cobalt, lead, zinc, and copper are the main mineral resources of Africa. Although it has abundant natural resources, yet it remains the world's poorest and most underdeveloped continent. Most of the African countries have been independent only in recent years. South America. South America, continent of incredible biodiversity, is home to the great Amazon River and rainforests. It is the fourth largest continent of the world. Most part of this continent lies in the southern hemisphere. It lies between 12 degrees north to 55 degrees south latitudes and between 35 degrees west to 81 degrees west longitudes. South America is almost surrounded by ocean, except in the north, where it is joined to North America by the Isthmus of Panama. It is bordered on the west by the Pacific Ocean and the north and east by the Atlantic Ocean. North America and the Caribbean Sea lie to the northwest. South America has diverse physical features. The Andes Mountains, which are 7,200 kilometers long, are like the backbone of South America. On one side it has the river Amazon, which is the largest river in the world, and the highest waterfall of the world, the Angel Fall, while on the other side, the Atacama Desert of Chile, which is one of the driest regions of the world, are also a part of it. South America is not as developed as North America, but it is developing very rapidly. North America. North America is the continent full of marvels, blends and contrasts modern structure as well as amazing mountains and deserts, Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building, the Golden Gate Bridge, Niagara Falls, the Grand Canyon are some of the icons of North America. North America lies in the northern and western hemisphere. It lies between 7 degrees north to 84 degrees north latitudes and between 20 degrees west to 180 degrees west latitudes. North America is the third largest continent after Asia and Africa. It covers about 16% of total area of the world with only 9% of population of the world. It includes the second and the fourth largest countries, namely Canada and the United States of America, USA. North America is bounded by the Pacific Ocean on the west, the Atlantic Ocean on the east, the Arctic Ocean on the north, and the Caribbean Sea on the south. The world's longest land gorge, the Grand Canyon, is one of the North America's most famous natural wonders. Greenland, the world's largest island, lies in the North Atlantic Ocean. North America has the distinction of being the most industrialized continent of the world. The prosperity of North America is a result of the use of vast resources with the help of advanced technology. English, Spanish, and French are the most important languages spoken by the people. The Bering Strait separates North America from Asia. Antarctica. Antarctica, the land of wonder, is the highest, driest, windiest, emptiest, coldest place of the earth. Antarctica is a land of penguins, whales, seals, krill, and fish without native people. It is the fifth largest continent of the world and lies completely in the southern hemisphere. It is called a white continent because it is permanently under a thick cover of ice. Due to adverse climatic conditions, human habitation is not possible in this continent. Landforms. You have studied about the different continents. Do you find the surface of Earth similar everywhere? No. Earth's surface is not uniform everywhere but very diverse. Some places have skyrocketing mountains, whereas others have plateaus. And somewhere it is flat land or plains. The surface of Earth keeps on changing slowly and continuously due to internal and external processes. On the basis of the sources of the origin, the forces which affect the crust can be divided into two broad categories, that is, the exogenic forces and endogenic forces. The exogenic forces are external forces of denudation or destructional forces, which always originate from the exterior of the earth. These forces are continuously engaged in changing the face of the earth. River, wind, glacier, and sea waves are the chief external agents, which change the landform through the processes of gradation, degradation, aggravation, and weathering. On the other side, endogenic forces are the forces coming from within the earth or taking place in the interior of the earth. These forces work suddenly or slowly and produce movements on the Earth's crust, which often lead to either volcanic eruption, mountain building, or earthquakes. Hence, they are also known as Earth movement. The endogenic forces cause two types of movements in the Earth, that is, horizontal and vertical movements. The horizontal and vertical movements are caused due to the contraction and expansion of rocks on account of varying thermal conditions and temperature changes inside the Earth. These movements give birth to numerous varieties of relief features like mountains, plateaus, plains, lakes, faults and folds, etc. Do you know what are mountains, plateaus, plains? You might have seen or visited mountains, plateaus and plains, but do you know what is the difference between these? To understand these features, let's discuss them one by one. A mountain. A mountain is a mass of land considerably higher than the surrounding area. It is generally more than 600 meters above the sea level and has a narrow or conical peaks. Mountains are a group of very high hills forming long chains called ranges. Most of the mountains are formed of more than one chain parallel to each other. For example, are Himalayas. The Himalayas in the northern part of our country have three major ranges extending from west to east. Mountains exist in many parts of the world. All the mountains do not look alike. Some of these are very tall and have pointed peaks. They are called the young mountains. The Himalayas are examples of young mountains. Some mountains are low in height with rounded peaks. They are called the old mountains, like the Aravalli Mountains. Plateau is another kind of landforms found on the surface of the earth. A plateau is a broad and rather flat area of land rising sharply above the surrounding lowlands with an average height of 500 to 600 meters. They appear like tablelands. Most of them cover thousands of square kilometers in area. The Deccan Plateau of India is an example of a plateau. Some of the plateaus are quite high, but they do not have pointed peaks like the mountains. The Tibet or the Tibetan Plateau is the highest plateau of the world. Large parts of Africa, Australia, Asia, and North America are occupied by plateaus. Relatively low lands with flat surface and with an average height less than 100 meters on the earth are called plains. Most of the plains are almost at the sea level, while the others may have a slightly undulating surface. The Indo-Gangetic Plain in the northern part of India is an example of an almost flat plain or rising slightly above it. Plains are important for agriculture because they are made with alluvium soil and hence are very fertile, which provide good grazing for livestock. This is the reason that the plains are densely populated. Hydrosphere. The parts of the Earth's surface comprising of water is called the hydrosphere. It consists of all the water on Earth, extends high into the atmosphere and deep into the lithosphere or rocks and soil. Water affects everything that happens in life. In Latin, hydro means water. Therefore, anything that scientists describe when it comes to water is a part of the hydrosphere. The water may be at the bottom of the ocean or in the top layers of the atmosphere. It is all a part of the hydrosphere. Liquid water makes the Earth a special place. Our planet has a right kind of temperature range that allows water to remain in its liquid state. If Earth were a colder planet like Pluto, it would not matter how much water there was on the planet. It would all be frozen. On the other hand, if the Earth was very hot, like Mercury, all the water would be in a gaseous state. As we talked earlier, about 71% of Earth's surface is water. Large bodies of water on the Earth's surface, generally separated by the continents, are called oceans. There are 4 major oceans. Number 1, the Pacific. Number 2, the Atlantic. Number 3, the Indian. Number 4, the Arctic. The Pacific, the largest ocean, covers about 1/3 of the area of the Earth. This is larger than all the continents put together. It's the deepest ocean. Mariana Trench, the deepest ocean trench, which is about 11,022 meters deep, is located within this ocean. The continents of North and South America extend on one side of the Pacific Ocean, and Asia and Australia stretch on the other side. Atlantic Ocean, the second largest ocean, is situated between the North and South America on the one side and Europe and Africa on the other side. Due to an irregular shape, the coastlines of the Atlantic Ocean is longer than the coastlines of the Pacific and the Indian Ocean put together. Because of its indented coastline, there are many good harbors on the coasts of this ocean. The Atlantic is the busiest ocean of the world from the point of view of commerce. The fact that this ocean is situated between two of the most developed regions of the world, North America and Europe, make it very important for trade and commerce. The Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean is bounded by land masses on 3 sides. Asia forms its northern boundary, while Africa stretches on the western side. Australia is situated on the eastern side of this ocean. It is the only ocean of the world named after the name of a country, India. The fact that the Indian Ocean is named after India shows the importance of India in the trade and commerce in the ancient times. The Arctic Ocean. The Arctic Ocean lies within the Arctic Circle, and the North Pole lies at the center of this ocean. It is the smallest ocean of the world. The Bering Strait, a narrow stretch of water, connects the Arctic Ocean with the Pacific Ocean. Northern coastlines of North America and Eurasia form the southern boundary of this ocean. It is connected with the Atlantic Ocean on its southern side. Due to its location within the polar circle, the Arctic Ocean remains covered with ice most of the year. The Atlantic, the Pacific, and the Indian Oceans merge together in the southern hemisphere. Thus, there is a continuous stretch of ocean around the continent of Antarctica. This vast ocean is called the Southern Ocean. The Southern Ocean surrounds the continent of Antarctica. Due to the extension of this ocean into the polar circle, the southern part of the Southern Ocean also remains covered with ice most of the year. Atmosphere. We breathe in air. The air surrounds the Earth like an envelope. This envelope of air is called the atmosphere and forms one of the most important realms of the Earth. The atmosphere extends about 1,600 kilometers from the surface of the Earth, but 99% of the total mass of the atmosphere is found within 32 kilometers. Air is not a specific gas, but a mixture of number of gases. The most important constituents of the air are nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon dioxide. Nitrogen amounts to nearly 78% of the volume of air, while oxygen makes up about 21%. The remaining 1% of air includes all the remaining gases found in the atmosphere. All components of air are important to us. Oxygen is the life breath, as all living beings breathe oxygen. Nitrogen helps in the growth of living organisms, especially the plants. Carbon dioxide and water help in plant growth. Rain and snowfall, which provide most of the water to the plants, comes from the water vapors present in the lower layers of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is very useful to us. In fact, it is one of the necessary components of biosphere, as without air, no life would have been possible. The atmosphere also acts like a shield around the Earth and protects the Earth from the cosmic rays. You have studied about meteors or shooting stars in the first chapter. Meteors get burnt and do not reach us because of our atmosphere only. Otherwise, they could have harmed us the same way as they do to the moon. A large number of meteorites hit the moon and left deep scars on its surface, as it does not have an atmosphere. Biosphere. The biosphere, sphere of life. The three major realms of the Earth, the land, water and air, come in contact in a narrow zone. This narrow contact zone is called the biosphere. All living organisms, plants and animals live in this very zone. The biosphere is a unique feature of the Earth. This zone of life extends slightly below the surface of the land into water and slightly above the surface into the air. The biosphere has a huge variety of organisms. They vary in size from the smallest bacteria to the largest of the animals such as the whales and the elephants. The plants also vary in size from fungus to the largest of the trees. The organisms found in the biosphere are divided into the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. Human beings are the most important occupants of the biosphere, and they are part of the animal kingdom. All the realms or the spheres of the Earth are connected with each other. Any change in one realm affects the other realms too. For example, cutting of trees in the forests increases the rate of soil erosion. This may lead to increased amount of silt in the rivers and thus flooding of the rivers. Normally, the biosphere remains in a state of balance. The new trees replace the older ones, and the submergence of land below sea may be replaced by emergence of land somewhere else. Thus, nature has a capacity to regenerate itself. All organisms in the biosphere are also connected with each other. The animals depend for food on plants. They cannot get their food directly from the land or water or air. Only the plants have the capacity of obtaining their food from the land, water and air. Thus, any change in one component of the environment leads to changes in the other components also. Imbalance in biosphere. Man uses all the components of the biosphere, but by certain activities he is harming his own biosphere, which is creating imbalance. Increasing human population increases pressure on various components of the biosphere. Forests are being cut and animals have been hunted since very ancient times. Some of the plants and animals have been removed from the face of the earth by man. The use of energy-giving substances such as coal and oil releases gases like carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. These gases are harmful to animal life. The increasing number of vehicles on the roads and the factories increase the amount of these harmful substances in the atmosphere. Similarly, many harmful products are put into the water bodies from the factories, etc. This makes the air and the water impure. Thus, parts of the biosphere are getting polluted. The purification or regeneration capacity of the nature is limited. If the levels of pollution become too high, then the life-supporting capacity of the biosphere will decline. we should be very careful in using the biosphere so that it is not harmed too much. Checking the growth of human population is necessary to reduce the burden on the biosphere. A careful use of natural substances by man can help in keeping the biosphere clean and in balance. Man should adopt the principle of live and let live. Only then can he ensure his continued survival on the earth.